All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm going to give you a first look here at FSD beta 10.4. This is technically my second drive with it, but first drive I'm bringing you here video form. It's just going to be a quick little drive on my way home here to show a few of the turns. It is kind of at a more rush hour time, so there's a little bit more traffic. In general, I have not noticed that much of a difference between 10.3, at least on my drive, but most of my drives have already been pretty good. So here's the first intersection here. Got to make a right turn. And this one has given difficulties in the past because the car needs to get over 3 or 4 lanes. And let's see how it does. So we got to get over. Need to get over again. And it does it. So you can see there, one of the issues I've had, and that didn't really get any better, is we didn't get into this lane until probably 3 car lengths from the traffic light. So if there's too many cars kind of waiting at this light, it just does not get over in time. I kind of have to jump it over more. So that just comes into more, my biggest complaint with the FSD is planning ahead and being able to react quick enough to the lanes it needs to get into. And that's probably the biggest example that I have in terms of it trying to get over to the proper lane. So that situation ended up working out okay. I didn't have to intervene or anything because there was no traffic at the light, so it could get over last minute. I just kind of wish it went faster and made that decision a little quicker to get all the way over the lane that we need. Especially because ideally we'd be in the other lane, but this one's okay for now. We have some time until we have to actually get into the other lane. So I haven't usually had any problems with this turn. It is pretty well laid out, and boom, no problems, very smooth. Didn't seem to cross any of the lines, so we're all good there. To prepare for the lane that we need to be in, so that was good. Again, I prefer it not to change lanes in the intersection. It's not really a pressing matter right now, but it did change lanes in the intersection. It seems to like making those lane changes in intersections, so I find that interesting that sometimes, like back at the previous intersection, it doesn't get over fast enough, and then other times it seems to get over when it doesn't really need to, like there. It's trying to prepare for a turn that's in 3 more traffic lights. So it had plenty of time to be able to get over, but it decides to get over in the middle of an intersection, which it handled fine, but still not ideal. Yeah, a little bit of traffic here, so we're just waiting. There's a couple lights before we have to make a turn. At the light after this one is when we'll have to make a left turn, and we'll see what decision it makes with the left turn lanes. Ideally, I want it to be in the left of the 2 left turn lanes coming up here, and we'll see what it does. Both lanes are open right now, so it has free to make the decision, and it does not look like it wants to get into the one I want it to. So I'm going to tell it to get over again. So that's just, again, back to kind of one of the other, nitpicky complaints I have is both those lanes are technically correct, but the right of the 2 lanes ends pretty quickly after this intersection, especially when there was no one in either of these 2 lanes. I really want it to just be in the left lane and not have to worry about it. And it just kind of seems, I don't know what the logic is, but it seems kind of inconsistent to me, because it will definitely get in that far left lane sometimes, and other times it just goes to the right of the 2 lanes. So it seems to not be very consistent, and I kind of wish I knew what it was making that decision based on, because it's not always consistent. So I just, I made a slight intervention there. I just put on the turn signal, and it got over no problem into the lane I wanted it in. So you definitely have that ability. Now, this intersection usually goes pretty smooth for me, but every now and then it'll kind of cross, and you can see here on the visualization, because I know the outside the window view is not great, but there is a line. That line is physically in the road, but sometimes when I'm on the inside, it'll cut it out a little bit too much. So we're gonna see here how we do. Looks good for now. Okay, yeah, it did fine there. It didn't cross the line or get too close to the car that was next to me. Here it's doing something weird. It's getting over into the lane I definitely don't want, and I have no idea why it's doing this. I'm gonna mark it because that lane's about to end and I need to go straight, and it put me in that lane and I have no idea why. There was no cars that it was trying to get around. There was zero reason I could figure out why it would want to get over there. So that lane ends right there. Certainly I understand if it's already in that lane and it's got to make the decision to get out of it, that can happen late. Or if there was a car in front of me driving slower, I can kind of see why it would make that decision. But I have no idea why it just wanted to get in that right lane there. Like, nothing was slowing me down, nothing like that. So again, it's just like, it's not driving bad, it's just kind of making a few bad decisions. And I'd say that's been pretty consistent for me across the FSD, is that it's the driving capabilities are good. Like, in terms of seeing traffic, making the turns are generally good. It's just the decision making is not always great, and definitely not always smooth. All right, so now we're going into my neighborhood. Okay. All right, we made that little S-turn there, which is definitely kind of difficult. We have some oncoming car here. We got over smoothly, okay. So again, my neighborhood here doesn't have any curbs on it, it's just grass, and I've had issues in the past where it kind of rides in the middle, and even when cars are coming, it doesn't get over enough. And you guys could see there that even though that car was coming around the corner, which has been difficult before, the Tesla did hug the right enough for that car to make it around the corner and not get too close to them. I didn't feel like I'd be spooking them or anything like that, driving too close to the center. So I actually thought I was very impressed with that. That seemed to be a little bit smoother than in the past, but it's kind of hard to tell. Coming up to a four-way stop. I've never had any issues with the stop sign since I've had the FSD, and there's no cars here, so we should, you know, roll this no problem. Yep, no issues. Coming up here is a pretty difficult S-turn, and it's very tight even for human drivers. So if there's a car here, I'll probably just take over and not even try to let it. But okay, so there's no car here, so I'm just gonna let it do it. When there's no cars here, it usually handles it fine. It's just, you can see we're definitely on the other side of the lane here. But once again, to be fair, even as a human driver, if no one's coming, usually you'll be in the center anyway, just because it's a very tight S-turn there. So, and that's pretty much going to wrap up the drive. Just a quick little show you how 10.4 is going. Overall, things are going great. Very happy with the FSD, but appreciate everyone watching my videos. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitch. I talk about Teslas all the time there, and I appreciate all your support. Thanks again.